Hi everybody, welcome to Big OGGIE World. Welcome darling. Welcome back to the kitchen. You're not in it very often right now. I know.
Just because you're flexing your cooking muscles,
I am.
don't put me up as like a slacker, because I'm not.
No, today I am flexing my experimental muscles.
Oh good God.
Okay? Yeah. So I've been doing a little bit of research on how to make proper crackling.
Right.
Now everyone's got their ideas of proper crackling and I know a few. But
I can never get it right, I have to admit. I'm rubbish at crackling.
Now, some of you on there will probably comment and give various ways,
Tips.
and that's absolutely fine. I want you to do that. So this video is called the pork crackling experiment.
Right.
Okay? Now, there are various reasons why we don't get decent pork crackling nowadays.
Okay.
One is because most of the, certainly the stuff in supermarkets, whatever, is pumped full of water and stuff.
Yeah.
So you just don't get the quality anymore. Also, a lot of people want leaner meat now.
Yeah.
So you don't get that fatty kind of content which you need to make decent pork crackling.
Right.
So, first of all, we've gone to our local butcher. Now, they only had the one piece today, so I've got this one. This is the 1.2 kilo piece of belly pork, which they boned for me. Doesn't matter if it's boned or not, but they boned it anyway. So the first thing you do is you must always get it out of packaging as soon as possible, whatever the packaging is, especially if you're buying it from a supermarket. Okay, absolutely key.
It's a lovely piece of pork actually.
Yeah, no, it's very nice. Like I said, I've got this from the butcher's, not from the supermarket. Now, just let me digress ever so slightly, because it's not a very long video. So I did a bit of research, and there's two main websites I've come up and found. I've got them on the phone, so I need to get the details here. So we are using partly some details from a group called Recipe Tin Eats.
Okay.
Okay, which is how to make slow roasted crispy pork belly in details.
Okay.
So we're going to use part of their idea, because I like some of their idea.
Right.
And we will be actually roasting it tomorrow, or actually later on in this video, to show how they've done this, because I'm interested to see if it works.
Okay.
Because it's totally different to what I'm expecting.
Right.
Alright, but 20 years ago,
Good.
approximately 20 years ago, I think it was The Guardian, the blog, one of the food blogs in The Guardian did this thing about how to make the best crackling, and they tested, I think the lady got like 6 or 7 pieces of pork. We can't afford that, right?
We haven't got the fridge space
We haven't
anyway.
got the fridge space. And they got the ideas from Delia, you know, it's not Sir, what is she, lady?
Lady who?
Delia.
Delia. Dame Delia?
Dame Delia, that's it, Dame Delia. And they got River Cottage, they got Hugh Fernie Winsell, they got Simon Hopkinson, who we love.
We love his
Okay.
recipes.
They had Good Housekeeping, they had various other different ways of how to do crackling.
Right.
And they tested them all, and then they found a winner. Now the second place was Simon Hopkinson.
Not
And
surprised.
his is the one I would probably have gone for.
with.
Okay? But the winner was, let me get this right, a blog called Gastronomy Domine, or Domini. Okay?
Right.
Now, I can understand that in this because I've read what she's done, and even she wrote a blog about 5 years after that to say, look, I won this all these years ago and I'm doing it again. So, we're going to use partly hers and partly the Recipe Tin Eats.
Right.
Okay? Now, if you were using the Simon Hopkinson one, he would do what I've always said. He would get boiling hot water and pour all over this right now.
Right.
And then pat it dry. We're not doing that this time. One reason is because we are not scoring
No.
our pork. Okay, so that's your first controversial thing from the Recipe Tin Eats.
Right.
They say do not score your pork. Now, if you get pork crackling anywhere and you speak to anyone on any other website, they would always say get your butcher or yourself to score your pork. Get a craft knife, very dangerous. Score it nice and thin, yeah? Mm-hmm. And then with the Simon Hopkinson one, he would have poured the water over. It would have opened up those joints because it would have made all the pork skin go like that.
Yeah.
And that's how I would have done it. But Recipe Tin Eats, gentlemen, goes, do not score your pork. And the reason is, most of us, including quite a lot of butchers, don't know how to do it properly. or they haven't got the time, they do it too fast.
Right.
So what happens is
They do
you
it too
score
deep.
it, goes too deep
Yeah.
in places, which means the fat then oozes up and you get these leathery sections,
Yeah.
not the bubbly, crisp
Crispy stuff. Yeah.
So he's saying do not do
That.
that, okay? The other thing he's saying is, and you'll see this later on the video, traditionally you would always put your pork in at a super hot temperature in the oven for about the first 20-25 minutes and then lower it down.
Yeah.
He's doing it the opposite way around. He's doing it low and slow, and then the last half an hour
Blast it.
blast it. But we'll explain that later. So let me get a chance to be prepared and we'll come back.
Right.
Okay, welcome back. Sorry, I'm still on a bit of après-COVID issues. So
Bon COVID.
yeah, I struggle with breathing sometimes. So sorry about that if I'm a bit heavy breathing right now. So we have a piece of pork.
Yeah.
Theoretically, you've got it from the supermarket or the butcher's. Get it out of its packaging,
Yeah.
and it's got to be dry now.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is dry.
No, it's not. That's not dry. So we are now going to use the Gastronomy Domini, whatever, Domini idea here. So you've got your piece of pork, pat it dry with some kitchen towel. No, don't honestly, this is brilliant. Go on.
It's already dry.
It's not. You wait and see. It's not dry, love.
There's nothing on it. It's
Emma.
dry.
Okay.
It's dry because it's been hung in a butcher's fridge
But that's actually
with
quite
the
good
air
too. I know.
circulating.
That's actually quite good too. So, now you've patted it dry with your towel and you think it's dry. No, it's not. Get yourself some decent sea salt. We're using sea salt flakes, Cornish sea salt flakes. Plenty of salt all over the skin. Right, now there are two theories here. Rub it in, well, some people would say, like you're massaging the person you love. Okay? If it was Fanny Craddock, remember her?
Vaguely.
She would say, massage it in like it's the face of someone you don't like. Yeah? So give it a good rub, get it all in.
I guess the problem with this, I understand the principle of it, but because it isn't scored, it's technically not going in.
Well, it's not necessarily about going in, really. But, okay. I understand your theory here. Okay.
So it just keeps falling off.
That's all right. Right. Okay, so scrape that bit off now. We've got a bit on there. That's fine. Okay. Now. Yeah, because I've mixed two different theories. Okay, so.
Right, here we go.
No, it's fine. So.
Oh, I do love the fucking mess you make.
I know. Is it dry?
It was dried before I even started.
Put it down. Not dry though. Wait a minute. Bear with. Please entertain.
Oh God. Do you know, it's a real mistake leaving you loose. You're using my hairdryer.
I am, yeah. Plug it in, love. Get your extension lead, plug in your hairdryer. This is why, according to her website, she says you look like a complete lunatic in front of all your friends. So I thought it would be ideal for Kelly. Of course, she scores her skin, which puts some of the salt in. We haven't scored our skin, so this
So
may
it's
just
gonna
blow
blow off.
Yeah, exactly. Still, carry on. You have to, well, bear with now, because it's going to get quite loud. You're going to dry your skin to within an inch of its life with a hairdryer. Oh. Yeah, we should have used flake. But that's fine.
My hairdryer is very hot, by the way.
Yeah, but you're not cooking it, you're just drying it, okay? So wash it. It's not a blowtorch. Is it dry yet?
It's dry before we started.
Is it really dry yet?
That bit's gone a bit better.
Okay, got it.
But is that because it's hot and there's fat that end?
Maybe, but you're right, you're supposed to be wafting it
I
over.
am wafting.
Oh, love it. Okay.
No. You want it done? I do it.
Okay, so even though Kelly thought I was mad,
I still do.
well, yeah, that's just a natural state. It's taken a while now.
We've probably done it for about 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Don't know if you can see this, but this is wrinkling up. Now, that's the same kind of situation that would happen if you poured boiling hot water over it, but it's then not dry, and patting it dry wouldn't be as dry as this. So we are now at the stage where this is dry. Okay?
Yeah, it's dry.
Now, pop it into your dish, or into a dish. Get yourself a tea towel, clean tea towel, dry tea towel. Cover it up, pop it in the fridge.
Right. Let the air circulate, basically.
Well, yes, it's going to be in the fridge for 24 hours.
Okay.
Okay? A fridge has, according to the website, dry air, so it doesn't get any wetter. The salt may pull some
Liquid from
liquid
it.
out and put it back in again, osmosis I think it's called, isn't it? So tomorrow we re-dry this slightly before we put it in, but it should be as dry as possible now, and then it goes in the fridge for 24 hours.
Okay.
We will see you tomorrow. Right then, darling, welcome to day 2. So our pork skin is dry,
Yeah.
very dry. Okay, it's been in the fridge overnight. It's now hard. Yeah. So what we're gonna do with this, we're gonna cook it a bit unconventionally as well. In fact, very unconventionally.
Right.
Okay. So the normal process of cooking pork, as you well know, will be whack pork in at high temperature for about 25 minutes, and then bring it down. That gets your crackling kind of started, and then you bring it down. We're gonna do it the opposite way. We're gonna slow cook it, and I mean really slow cook it. In the oven, and then the last half an hour we're going to push up.
Right.
Okay, so I've never tried this before. This is a different, unconventional way of doing things. But to do what we want to do, we have to make a box. Think of it like when you're doing your Christmas wrapping paper. So you need 2 pieces because you need double thickness. You don't want it to leak, basically.
Okay, so you're going to have to pick that pork up. This is extra thick foil.
Yeah, it's mainly to stop it leaking. That's the reason for having 2 layers, but we've already got extra thick foil. Okay, so first of all we're going to season our meat. So underside you season with a bit of oil, a bit of salt and pepper. Okay, lovely.
You rub.
Yeah, all that in, yeah. Okay, a little bit of salt and pepper. Just the underside for now. Lovely. Some people put fennel powder in now, or fennel seeds as well if they want. It's kind of porchettoing it, but we're not. So that's all done there. Now, next thing you do is turn that over, and I have to make a box. So I'm going to wash my hands.
Did you say we have to oil the top as well?
Not yet until you make your box.
Right.
Because you need to make your box, make it fit. The idea is the box has to be just over the height of the meat.
Right.
And pretty tight up to where it should be.
Never before have I made a foil box for a piece of pork.
No, nor have I. So, you know, like I said, we're kind of doing an experiment today. Oops, sorry, let me towel. Remember, the foil has to be as high as the fat. Because what you want to do is you're going to basically encase it in its own fat. So it's going to cook and render in its own fat. So it's kind of confit like you do confit up.
As you can see, I never ever got a blue Peter badge.
No, but you know, that's okay. Okay, so that's fine.
About as best I can do.
Yep, that's too flat. There we go. The whole point then now is that as this cooks slowly, the fat will come out of the pork.
Yeah, but you're making too much space now.
You're just too low down here because it'll all leak out the side. And you don't want the fat to leak out the side. You want the pork to be sitting in its own fat for the next 2.5 hours.
Right, like that.
Yep,
That'd be okay.
that's fine. So now, very lightly oil the top.
Right.
Just a couple of squirts. Plenty. And then,
It's just vegetable oil, by the way.
yeah, or olive oil would be fine. And then you sprinkle some salt on. Because without salt, you'll just get a leather skin. You'll get nothing else. Salt is the thing that makes it crackle. Dryness and salt.
Right.
Yep.
There you go.
Okay. Okay. So now that's done, and I'll take a photograph of this in a second just to show you. This goes into a low oven, 120 degrees fan,
Right.
140 normal,
Very low.
for about 2.5 hours.
Okay.
So again, stupidly low. This is just over a kilo, about 1.2 kilo. 2.5 hours minimum, really.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll take it out and do the last stage. So, yep, taking the picture. So now we'll put it into a roasting tin as well, because obviously, well, you don't want accidents to happen.
Well, and it saves on the cleaning up,
And it
and
saves
I'm
on
all
the
for
cleaning
cleaning up.
Yep. I was going to do a kind of sweet and sour sauce, which would have worked in this, but it's a different process.
Right.
Again, great idea to do that if you're going to use one of these trays, because you can throw them away. So what we're going to do this with normal applesauce today and do it as a normal roast pork dinner, I guess.
Lovely.
But I will do a sweet and sour kind of sauce, dipping sauce for another time.
Okay.
So that's now got to go in the oven, 2.5 hours on super low.
Okay. We'll be back.
Right then, darling, we've done 2.5 hours.
Timer's going, John.
Turn the thing off, love. It drives you mad. I suppose that's the point of it. So, pop it out. We'll have a look. Why are you going for?
Well, because I don't really know what to expect.
No, well, nor do I. So, what happened is, after an hour and a half, we had to take it out and we tightened up the foil. So that, because basically, if you understand all this, all pork, all meat will shrink when it gets hot. So after an hour and a half, the meat shrank a little bit. The foil needed to be just tightened up to allow the fat around the edges, what there was, to carry on basting the actual pork.
And obviously the meat will shrink because the fat is rendering out. So
Absolutely.
it will shrink anyway.
So I'll grab a phone just to show you that underneath.
It sort of sounds like leather.
Yeah, well that would be the case right now. That's not a problem. So I'm just going to show you that. I'm going to try and show you the fat underneath, yeah. So there's plenty of fat, and pretty much all the meat inside has been cooking in its own fat. So it's like a confit duck, okay?
But it's pork.
But it's pork. So the next stage is to check where high and low is. First of all, turn the oven up to 220 degrees fan.
220.
Yeah, 220 fan, 240 normal. So we're up high now.
Okay, so I've got an internal thermometer.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of faffing to do yet. So the other science about this now is that obviously you all know this really, an oven is hotter at the top than it is at the bottom. So even though you're talking centimetres.
You want me to put the shelf up as well?
No, you're just, it'll be as it is, it'll be fine. But even though you're talking centimetres in this, that will be hotter than that. Okay? So the top bit could quite possibly burn or be crispy, and the lower part wouldn't actually get crispy.
Do you reckon that's a...
I know, this is what they said.
I understand that, but I wouldn't have said that there was that much difference.
So if you think, no, well actually not too bad. So the idea here is, especially with belly of pork, you can often get a fat end and a thin end.
Yeah.
So if you get a fat end and a thin end, the idea now is you would get some bits of tin foil, roll them up into balls and put them underneath
the thin end.
So that you try and get a relatively flat curve.
Right.
Ours isn't too bad, I don't
think that's gonna...
No, I think we're going to be alright. So now is basically whack it in the oven again. We've already salted the top, it's already been salted. I'm just looking at your oven and you do have that on quite a low
the shelf's on like middle.
So maybe move it up slightly.
So move it up to the next level.
Yep. And the idea now is it goes back in the oven for half an hour in the same way as it would have gone back in the oven or would have gone in the oven at the start at a very high temperature.
Right. So we're going to wait for the temperature to hit.
Well, how far are we off we? How far are we off? How far are we off we? Yeah.
Well, it's probably got a good 100 degrees to go up at the minute.
See, this is the problem, isn't it? That's going to get cold. They just said turn the temperature up high and then whack it in.
Okay, well we'll whack it in, but maybe we might need to give it another 5 minutes.
Well, you need to keep an eye on it from now on, really.
Right.
Because the idea is now, obviously, because there will be hot spots in an oven as well as up and down, obviously left and right. So the theory is now that you put it in and check it every 10 minutes, and if you need to turn it. But it should be about half an hour, and hopefully we will have bubbly crackling.
So do you want me to set the timer for 10 minutes and then we'll look at it in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Because you know what we're like, we get caught on something else and then we forget.
There you go. Right, we'll have a look, and if it needs adjusting as it needs turning, that's all we need to do. Just take it out and just turn it round.
Yeah.
You'll see what happens in about half an hour. Okay? We hope. Hit the button, love. Right then.
I reckon that's done.
I reckon that's done too. Let's see what we've got. That looks like crackling to me. Yeah, I'd say that's crackling.
That is crackling. I can hear it crackling.
You can hear it crackling. It's like making noise like snap, crackle and pop, is it?
Yeah.
So, now the theory now is that you have to obviously rest it like all meat. We're going to take it out of its fat bath, really. Yeah?
Can't get the fork through it.
No, it says serrated knife when you're trying to do it. And then we're going to put it on the cutting board just to rest it for 10 minutes now. Now there will be lots of juices obviously because it's pork belly, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. It's totally expected. Right then, darling. So we've let it rest. Actually, not that much fat came out, which just goes to show how lean meat is nowadays. Now we're going to try and cut it with a serrated knife. It could shatter, as it says. It may shatter. It may not cut properly. If it doesn't, the theory is that we will just do what we were thinking about doing, and that's actually taking the crackling off.
Well, that's what I tend to do. I tend to take the crackling off. You would tend to put the meat
on your plate separately, and the crackling
meat separate. And the crackling on the top. Otherwise, you're going to pour gravy over it, and that ain't right.
Yeah, but this is just for theory today.
Okay, so we'll
try see if you can do it. Of course, we don't even know if we've got a sharp knife that can actually cut.
Well, the serrated knife is sharp.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I've done it.
I definitely think we've got crackling. I definitely think we have. Oh, she moves fast. I definitely think we have. Yeah, and it cut.
So what I'm going to do then is just slice off that piece of crackling.
Okay.
So that we can taste the pork and the crackling.
Okay. I'm hand holding a phone camera here, so this is interesting.
Okay, right. So there's the crackling.
Yep.
Slice a bit of the pork as well.
Yeah, the meat looks really good. If you cook the pork another hour or so, you will end up, another hour and a half, you'll end up with like pulled pork. But right now it's just juicy and soft.
Right, so
the whole point of that recipe is you get soft, juicy meat and then crackling to die for. That's the plan.
Crackling snapped.
Snapped, yep. And it's crackling. Yeah. So that bit works.
Oh, that's lush.
So I will say, I've been saying a gentleman, I think, most of this, but actually it's another lady. So there was a lady that invented the bit about the hairdryer job, and there was a lady that invented the slow cooking bit that we were explaining here.
Okay.
Different people. This one's from Australia, a lady called, I think, Nagy. She comes from Tasmania. So.
You try the crackling, I'll try the pork.
That's really light as well. That's amazing. So the theory...
Pork's good too.
Well, this is obviously pork belly. I know we're actually doing the crackling today. So we may do this video again, all about the slow cooked pork with a sauce to go with it. But the theory stands for all kind of crackling, all kind of pork. The theory being, get the stuff out of the packaging straight away. Oh, put your stuff on my teeth, sorry. Get your meat out of your packaging straight away.
Don't want it to sweat. That's
Don't let it sweat. Pat it down with towels. Dry it with an hairdryer if you can. That's good. Obviously, if you want to get it cut, that's fine. It's up to you. But obviously that worked this way for us.
It did.
But get it in your fridge and leave it overnight. The fridge is dry air, so get it in the fridge. Leave it overnight, at least overnight, 24 hours if you can. Then it'll be dry. Then when you bring it out with your salt and everything and your oil, you'll have a lovely dry skin to work with to start off with. That's the main theory to all this. And whether you're one of the people who blast it hot at the start and then bring it down, or this way round, which I think this is amazing.
Well, I have to say, as I said before,
Do what you like.
I can never do crackling. My crackling is absolutely rubbish. No matter what I try and do with it, it's rubbish. This is excellent. I've never had crackling that good before.
It actually tastes like pork scratchings.
Yes,
it's as puffy as pork scratchings on your actual pork.
I'm going to try a bit of the pork.
I'm trying to do a pizza camera. Do a pizza camera to finish off, love.
Right. So, if you've liked this, give us a thumbs up. Do try it because I think it's bloomin' good. Actually, it worked. And if I can make crackling, then
It's amazing and soft.
Yeah, it's delicious pork.
Comfy pork.
Yeah, I mean, we got our pork from the butchers, and
Yes,
I would
did.
suggest that if you can, try and get it from the butcher.
If you can, yeah.
I mean, you know, supermarkets are alright, but they do pump things full of water and stuff, and it's not good. It's not
If
good
you
for
use your
anybody.
local butcher, you know where it's come from. You can ask them where it's come from. You get all the details you need to know.
And they can prepare it for how you want it.
Yeah.
So you can get a piece as big as you like from the butchers. You don't have to buy a pre-packed piece that is X amount size. You can get what you want. So hopefully you should have less waste because you can buy what you want.
Of course.
In theory.
So this has been a long video today, so we will redo this video as how to do a slow cooked pork, and we'll certainly copy her recipe because it's brilliant.
Yeah.
But you've got pretty much a basis of on here. Have a go at this crackling.
Subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, thank you very much.
Tell your friends.
Do tell your friends all about us. Bear this in mind for Christmas. We've got Christmas coming up.
Yeah, we have.
Perfect pork for Christmas.
Yep.
And we will see you all again really soon. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
What, a bit more of this?